There is a secret zone at the center of the world, and its sound is like razors through flesh.
I don't believe you.
Oh, come. Oh, you can hear its faint echo right now. I'm here to turn up the volume.
All right, Rock Addicts, this is DJ REM, and I have the band Conquest on the line. How you doing, brother?
Good, man. How are you guys doing out there?
Doing well. Just sitting here in Michigan, where it's actually not quite too cold and snowy yet.
Really? It's not?
Well, it was. It warmed up yesterday, and we lost part of our snow, but it's supposed to get really cold now coming up here this week.
Gotcha. It's pretty chilly where I'm at, so.
So why don't you go ahead and start by introducing yourself and the members of the band that are not with us today.
Well, I'm Derek. Derek Brumley, lead guitar player, lead singer of Conquest, founded the band, all that good stuff. And then you got Mike Crook, lead guitar player, backing vocals, Rob Boyer, bass guitar, backing vocals, and Timothy Fleetwood on the drums and backing vocals. So, yeah, that's pretty much the band.
Okay, well, very cool. I have to tell you, I've been playing you guys on my show. I was playing you guys last night, and I ended up playing like 6 tracks because everybody that was in the chat room at the station was like loving on you guys, so I just kept playing.
I would appreciate that a whole lot, man. That's for sure, man. That means a whole lot to me because it's all about the music for me, man. It really is. So people like you guys who actually take the time to pay attention to something other than the top dogs, so to speak, it means a lot. Put it that way.
Yeah, well, so you know, because I don't think I've told you this, is that at Rock Addict Radio, where I do most of my shows, we don't play anything mainstream. It's all upcoming, unsigned, independent bands. That's all we do. So
that's cool because resources for that. I know there's a lot of people that do it and try, and the more it's just so hard to compete with the OR radio and all that. So you guys make it feasible for people just starting, getting out, who's got something good going on to be noticed. It's awesome.
Exactly, and then I get to hear so many killer bands that I get to help share the world with. So I love it.
That's true too. Because you don't, how much music do you not hear because people don't play it? You know what I mean? So that's awesome.
Exactly. Okay, so how long has Conquest been together as a band?
Well, we are in our, believe it or not, 25th year of recording music. Long time. Conquest has been around for about that long as far as a recording artist. I was never never a cover band guy, so I didn't start playing a bunch of cover band stuff and then go off and be an original artist. I was the weird guy, who wanted to write something original when I couldn't play. You know what I mean?
Right.
So that's kind of how it all went down. I was a little bitty kid when I'm talking about, and so 25 years later, we're kind of celebrating with the War We Rage, which is 7 records later for us, full-length records, and a bunch of demos. You know how it goes, and EPs in between.
Very good. Well, and that's awesome that you guys have been able to stick around this long. Have you went through a lot of lineup changes, or is it pretty solid there, too?
Well, Tim, drummer's been with me since 1986. That's pretty much the beginning of all that, you know what I mean?
Uh-huh.
So we were little kids. So, Mike came in 95, and actually Rob played with me, the current bass player, played with me before all that, but when we were really, really doing nothing, just, ding, ding, ding on the guitar, you know what I mean? So, everybody who's affiliated with Conquest right now is very much part of the mix, you know what I mean, in all aspects of it. So it's been pretty loyal outfit. We've all been, I've had a couple changes here and there. Tony Restivo used to play bass. He was with us for the longest run as far as the bass player goes. But he did the bulk of the stuff in the early days. But here's where we're at now, and we're loving what we're doing. We feel good about it. Again, like I said, man, I never, everybody wants to be, the next Metallica, so to speak. But at the same time, we play and I write music for the sake of it and the love of doing so.
Right, very cool. So, what was the driving force that got you guys going in the beginning?
I don't know, man. I was a young punk kid who loved, Judas Priest in the early days and Black Sabbath and stuff like that. That's really got me get rolling in the early days. And then, along came Van Halen and, the pop world, more or less pop rock metal stuff. And it was kind of history from there, and I wanted to play the guitar. So
very good. So let's talk about this current album, The War We Rage. Where did you guys record this at? What studio did you guys use?
Well, I had my own studio in St. Louis, Screen Productions, and I track it all there. Then I go to another room on the other side of St. Louis where I do all my editing and my mixing. So it's done in the St. Louis area. I was kind of one of those guys early on that was paying a whole lot of attention to recording, and I was very fascinated with it all early on. So I did a lot of schooling myself, and I know you can get too close to it, so I make sure I have another quality engineer, Adam Long, has done my engineering on my last 3 projects, and they've really meshed together well and kind of found their niche. So pretty happy with how that goes. What do you think? The sound quality pretty good?
I think the sound quality is amazing with it. So it's amazing to me with today's technology what bands and people can do and not even need a studio. Not one where they have to go pay people to do it, where they can do it themselves. It's awesome.
Well, keep in mind this was a pay situation a little bit with Adam, but now what that is, that's when we get into the digital editing and Pro Tools and
right.
the stuff that makes it smooth as far as the and I don't want a fake record, so I'm one of those guys that really stands up and goes, no, we're not doing that. You know what I mean?
Yep.
I still want it to be natural feeling, and I want it to be who we are. You go see a live show, and pretty much you get that band that's on that record that you're getting. You know what I mean? So for me, I really take pride in that aspect of, even though I am the producer, I don't want to get so wrapped up in producing it that I forget who we are as a band. So.
Very good. So, speaking of the band, what's going on with you guys right now? What do you guys have coming up for shows and stuff?
Well, we just played a bunch of shows the last 3 months or so. Going to take about a month or 2 from doing anything. We got some stuff coming up in Kansas City, the other direction a little bit, late winter, that kind of stuff. But actually what we do right now is we're getting ready to prep a little bit. We're going to do a couple soundtrack songs for a couple movies that the label put forward, and things like that. So we're going to track some of that stuff during the next month or so, and then be out in the late winter or spring playing as much as possible, supporting the War We Rage, and I like to keep working. We don't record something, go gig, and then stop, and then take a break, and then record something. We kind of just bounce from one project to the next and keep everything rolling, so that otherwise it gets old and mundane, and when you've been doing this, for 20-something years, man, you go, if it doesn't stay fresh, you will falter, you know what I mean? It won't be good. So, keep the ball moving.
Very good. So where do you guys, how often do you guys get together and practice? Is this something you do like a weekly kind of thing, or?
Yeah, when we're in town or not playing excessively on gigs like that thing, we get together once or twice a week, and like right now we're just throwing tracking guitar ideas and vocal melodies, and then we put a bunch of those tracks down, and then we go back and listen to them a little bit and add some drums and pull back and left right with it back and forth a little bit and see what works and what doesn't, and that's what we'll be doing for the next month or so, and then we'll go back into rehearsal mode and band practice are kind of 2 different things. Band practice to me is when you're working on new ideas for the band, right? rehearsal is when you got your show that you're going to go put together and you're going to go play out, on a tour or in the club scene around the areas you're playing. That's a different type of rehearsals. For me, that's more of a live rehearsal aspect of it. So.
Right, that makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, but we keep it fun, upbeat, but at the same time, we got to stay to protocol and some type of, scheduling, so we keep things moving forward. Because it'll blow by. I don't know how old you are. How old are you? I can ask.
I'm 40.
Okay, well, you understand then. You get it. It'll blow by you so fast that your head will spin. And so you got to do everything and anything when you start getting around that age, you know what I mean?
Yes, I do.
because you realize it then that you can't get it back, So for me, writing the next record is you never know, man. So I always view the more music you record, the better off you are.
Yes, amen to that. So,
favorite track off the Where We Rage It You like?
Oh man, I'm gonna say, "Live Free or Die." I really like.
Yeah, it seems to be the common denominator as far as the all-around song. You know what I mean?
Uh-huh. But I also like "Coming with Vengeance." I mean, that's a really good track too. So.
Yep, that's a cool thing too, man. I mean, to me, the first 5 songs on the record are which they're all kind of a story, and which is obvious. Are pretty much the strong. That's why I dislike the rest of it. I think it's all. I don't think there's a. For me, and I'm my worst critic. I don't think there's a filler track on the record. It's not all the best of the best, but I don't think there's a filler where we just stuck something on there just because.
Right. Yeah. I like the whole thing, to be honest. So.
Awesome.
You guys,
cool,
one of the things I like about you guys is you have that. There's a metal sound with you guys that isn't very prevalent in today's music, and that's what draws me to you guys, if that makes sense.
That's very awesome. So that's cool to me. That makes me feel proud because for me, you're right. And a lot of metal music, has lost what you're talking about, and that's what I grew up on, that feeling that you're talking about, and that you can't wait to, certain things great for thrash. I'm a fan of Testament. I love the old school thrash and all that. But it all can't be that from start to finish for me, anyway.
Right.
I'm a Priest fan. That's probably obvious. I'm a big, from the standpoint of Rob Halford's vocal line thing, but also the breakdowns in songs. Not every song is the same. Very, very important to me in writing music that we have I don't know if you want to call it pure metal or what, but it doesn't show up in the music. To me, it doesn't have that purity.
All right, this is DJ Rem, and I've been talking with Derek from the band Conquest, and we're going to throw a little "Live Free or Die" on, and then we'll get back to the interview. So check this out.
If nothing in life is worth dying for, when did this begin? Just in the face of this enemy? Or should Moses have told the children of Israel to live in slavery under the Pharaohs? Should Christ have refused the cross? Should the patriots at Concord Bridge have thrown down their guns and refused to fire the shot heard round the world? The martyrs of history were not fools. And our honored dead, who gave their lives to stop the advance of the Nazis, didn't die in vain. Where then is the road to peace? Well, it's a simple answer after all. You and I have the courage to say to our enemies, there is a price we will not pay. There is a point beyond which they must not advance.
Road in the air, do or die.
about the new album, The War We Rage, and it is awesome. And it definitely has, like I said, definitely has that old school sound. I mean, and I think you're right though. Being my age, I think maybe that's why I appreciate it more, because it definitely has the sound that I grew up listening to in metal, and that's the sound that I appreciate. And the thing with that is I get a lot of metal out of Europe, and a lot of the European metal all has that kind of vibe going right now. So it's awesome to me, this whole sound.
Yeah, and you're right, and that's really where what we're going to do is we're going to ride on The War We Rage, but we're going to put out an EP in late 2014, and then another EP in 2015, and then they'll be combined together with adding 3 songs at that point to make a full length for 2016. But it'll all be digital downloads until 2016. Then we'll release if there's still such thing as a CD by then.
Right. I hope so. But
yeah, me too. I'm all about artwork and the whole game. You know what I mean? By the way, did you get a hard disk, or did you just get a MP3 file?
I just have the MP3s, and I would love to, even if you could just send me a picture of the album cover, because to me, artwork and album covers are half the thing. I mean, the music is obviously, that's the meat of the album, but the artwork to me is extremely important. I love to see album artwork.
Well, that'd be great. What you should do, when you get this all put up, are you going to post it on my Facebook page?
Yep, definitely.
When you do that, make sure you leave me your basic information, like where you want me to send some. I'll send you a hard copy of stuff. I'll send you a little care package.
Oh, very cool. Definitely appreciate that.
That way, I mean, hey man, I can tell you're a metal lover, and if you like the disc and you like the band, and I want you to feel like hey, it's a two-way street, and then you supporting the band like you do.
Yeah, definitely. And to be able to listen to it in my car will be awesome.
It will, and I'm going to tell you why. The MP3 is, is good and all that, but this thing thumps. I mean, it has the production that you want when you put it in your cool car stereo.
Right.
You know what I mean? And for me, I spend many hours and days working, making sure that's happening. Because if I can't do that, if I can't pop it in my car stereo and jam on it, when you turn it up and jam on it, then I'm not usually happy about any of it. I don't care how good the music is. People go, oh, it's about the song. Yeah, but if I can't turn it up and jam it, then it's not about heavy metal.
Yep, no, I totally get that. There's another artist that I've talked to and interviewed, and he periodically sends me new stuff, and that's how he tests it. After he produces it and puts it together, because he does everything himself, he goes and puts it in his car stereo, and if it doesn't sound good in his car stereo, he scraps it and starts over.
And that's pretty much the case, man. You got to be if it can't rock out there, then where's it going to rock?
Right, exactly.
That's just a philosophy.
Yep.
Sure.
No, I like it.
For sure. But yeah, I'll definitely send you out a care package, and I appreciate you spending us on the show, man. The more you do that, it really helps the cause. That's for sure.
Yep. Well, like I said, have been and will continue, because it's badass stuff. So.
Awesome. You got any old Conquest?
I do not. I just have the current album. That's all I got.
Well, when I send you a care package, I'll send you some other stuff too.
Okay.
And that way you can, get a little bit of history on it as well.
Yeah, awesome. I love it. Because a lot of times, I get music from a band that I've never heard of, like you guys,
yep.
And I hear their new stuff, and then I've never heard their old stuff. So to actually get to listen to the old stuff will, a lot of times with a band, I'll actually start looking online to see what I can find, so I can hear how a band, because bands do evolve over time, and it's fun to see that progression.
Oh, without a doubt, this band has taken, through living through the eras of the late '80s up till now. Man, again, as people, there's no guidelines, there's no book handed down on how or why.
Right.
And I'm not really that head down guy that goes, oh, I only like this. You know what I mean?
Right.
So my parameters were a little bit wider than Slayer. I mean, that's nothing small with Slayer. You know what I mean?
Uh-huh.
But that wasn't my only game. You know what I mean? That wasn't the only thing that, So for me, Slayer right on over to Motley Crue is just fine. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
So, So for me, the gamut has been many variations. So when you go listen to a very old Conquest, you can get some different flavors thrown in there. But the last 3 records pretty much are hard rock, heavy metal records. And I throw the hard rock in it. You probably noticed there's a couple songs on there that would qualify as hard rock, right?
Yeah, why not? Who cares? It sounds
Right.
good.
Right. Right. The ballot, by the way, was getting a lot of notoriety in the reviews that were coming on it. So I mean, you just don't know. I just write songs. I don't go, oh, I'm doing this one because of that, or oh, I'm doing this one because of that. I just write what comes out. And that's what we did.
Well, and that's what I love. When I hear a band that I like, and I know, and I can feel the passion, and I know they're writing music that they like, and it's not geared towards what some publicist or record label is going to be wanting them to do. Stuff drives me nuts. Okay, so question specifically for you. Way back in the day when you started all this, what musical influences or any influences did you have in your life that got you into music?
Well, I don't know what it was, man. I was that little kid that gravitated to certain songs, that you'd hear on the radio or whatever. But like I said, when the very first time I heard, at a grade school party or something, I heard like what was the movie? Pinball Wizard. Remember that movie?
Yep, sure do.
Tommy. Well, that stuff that really redirected my train of thought, and then instantly I found Judas Priest. In mid '70s. I was a little bitty kid, man. I'm like, what? What's this? My older brother was dating a girl, and she brought over the Black Sabbath record, and I was like, okay, you know what I mean? And that changed everything for me. So that's where it all came from.
Hey, that works. So, you've been doing this a long time, obviously, and sorry, I didn't mean to stress long, but...
No, you know what? I used to feel that way about it. Oh, God, I can't find my home. And, oh, God, we've been doing this for we're not rock stars, superstars, well, we're king of the world, blah, blah, blah. I don't care anymore. This is how I view it. I've been doing it for a long time. Yes, I'm proud of the fact I'm still doing it, and we still got our chops, and we're still able to do what we do very well. And not in an arrogant way, but we work hard to sound good. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So, should I be the first person I critique to the end of time? You know what I mean? I want it to be good. I don't want it to be okay. That's good enough. Give me your money.
Right.
I mean, that's just not our philosophy at all.
So where I was going with that, the question is, being that you have been doing it for a long time, what kind of sacrifices? Has it been a tough journey for you guys, or has everything been pretty smooth?
Well, by definition alone, I guess it pales if you compare it to, people who got sick and ill and things like that. But it's been, in the music business side of it, it's been a hell of a ride because, you get somewhere, you fall back down the ladder. You get somewhere, you fall back down the ladder. All of a sudden, you get somewhere, and the whole music industry changes its whole direction.
Right.
It's like, ouch. And then again, you're a younger guy. You've been disheartened. Your whole area. St. Louis, picture this. 1992. We were king of the world around here. We really were. And all of a sudden, here comes Pearl Jam and Nirvana, and all that. And it's like, boom, deflated, gone. Refocus. Refocus. So, just the way it goes. And, you can't see everything. You can't predict how it's going to go. So, I would say that, a rough road in a lot of areas. We were blessed in a lot of ways. Got to do a lot of cool shit. Got to do a lot of fun stuff. Do a lot of touring that was fun that a lot of bands don't get to do. So, yeah, I don't know. We earned our slots. Nobody gave us anything. I'll give you that. But yeah, we were fortunate in a lot of areas. But then also, here we sit. You know what I mean?
Right.
So,
who's your favorite band that you've got to play with?
Wow, I don't know. We've played with so many people. It's probably easier to tell you people I haven't played with that I'd like to still play with.
Okay, well then let's rephrase the question. Which band out there would you love to do a show with you have not done yet?
I've never played with Metallica. I've never played with, or on the same bill, or however you want to do that. I've never played with Ozzy. I've never played with Motley Crue. I've never played with, and the real, metal gods, if you would. I would say that's probably it. I've been on the same stage with Maiden. I've been on the same stage with Slayer. I've been on the same stage with, Testament on down the line, several times Testament, and so I don't know. I mean, yeah, that's probably where that would go. The Metallica is obviously, whether you love them or hate them or think they've done this or think they've done that, that's a mark that's unparalleled. Obviously, if you get to do that, you know what I mean.
Yeah, give me some old school Metallica any day, and haters can shut up.
Right. Ain't that the truth? I agree 100% with that. So,
give me Master of Puppets album, man, and yeah.
Oh yeah, and you can't go wrong.
No.
You know what I mean?
Have you played with Megadeth?
I've played on a bill where Megadeth was on the bill.
Okay.
We weren't on the same stage. They were on the main stage. We were on the side stage. So that type of thing. I don't really call that playing with them. So that would probably be another band that I would love to be on the same stage with. You know what I mean?
The only reason I asked is because they are my all-time favorite metal band ever.
Yeah. And again, Megadeth, I like Megadeth a lot too. They would be somebody that, and we had the chance over in Sauget, Illinois, and we couldn't get back in town. We were out on the road, and they called and said, "Hey man, you want to play Sunday night?" Blah blah blah. And I'm like, "Oh yeah, sure, if you can get me there."
Right.
Oh
man.
That kind of bummed that situation out, but
right.
How that worked.
Okay, so how did you come up with the name of the band, Conquest? Where'd that come from?
Well, when you're a kid, back when we were kids, when I was a kid, silly names weren't cool. You know what I mean? How it is now, you got an acronym for every band name. It's 3 words. Call somebody the band.
Right.
Back then it was about power and strong and aggression and all that kind of stuff. So for me, I don't know. It was a victory thing. I don't remember what it was, but victory. He looked that up, and it meant definition was conquest. So I was just playing on words almost, and it stuck. Here we are.
Okay, very good. So where is a good place for people to find out more about the band? What websites and social networking do you guys use?
Well, not enough, and thank God for people like you, because I am an older school individual, and sometimes some stuff slips through our fingers that we shouldn't. Obviously, you can get us on all Facebook. Every band member in the band has a Facebook page, obviously, and then there's a Conquest Metal Facebook page, which is us, and you can get some stuff on YouTube, Dark Star Records, anything to do with West Coast merch, all that kind of stuff is where you can buy us at any downloads available, Amazon, YouTube, anywhere, iTunes, Rhapsody, you name it, from that standpoint. So, but for basic information on the band, I'd always go to the Facebook pages, because obviously that's more personable. That's where when we play a show or whatever, and everybody sends photos or pictures, that's where it all finds itself. You know what I mean?
Yep, definitely.
That's how I would do that. And then great people like you who's out talking about us and playing our music. That's really how this is a underground thing. That. So even though it's a social media blitz, it's still an underground thing.
Well, yes, and it's an underground thing for me in the sense that there are so many bands and so many artists out there trying to do something that I know for me, just with what I do, it's very oversaturated, so it's tough to weed through everything, and it's hard to even keep everything straight these days.
I can only imagine. Again, that's me growing up. There was a whole different way you went about becoming somebody in the music business. There was no, internet. There was none of that. There was little paper fanzines, and you send people cassettes, and hope for the best. That's how that all went down back then. Well, today, a 15-year-old kid can get on YouTube and learn how to play Eruption, you know what I mean, from Van Halen, and then the next thing you know, he's a guitar virtuosus, and you got 18-year-olds recording music, and it's pretty good, but it lacks character and usually some form of quality, you know what I mean?
Yes.
So for you, it's got to be horrible, because you're going to get bombarded with all the stuff that is halfway right, but it's missing a few key elements that don't make it. It doesn't give it that extra where you want to play it, I would assume, right?
Yeah, I get a lot of stuff, and I listen to it, and I'm like, okay, first of all, how come I've never heard of this band, and how come everyone else has not? So I have that reaction when I listen to music, and then I also get bands that send me music, and I'm like, did anybody ever tell you guys really aren't that good?
Right. It's just not going to work out. You know what I mean? Yeah, you're right. And you know what, though? I say to everybody, no matter what, because you know how it is, man. There's bands that you don't like, right? That everybody else just loves, and you just don't get it.
Exactly. And I'll tell you what, I might get a band that somebody sends me, and then I'm like, and I might sit around for a while and may not even play their music. And then one day, and this has happened quite a few times, a fan will pop into my radio show, and they'll ask, hey, can you play such and such band? I'm like, I haven't played this band since I got their music. And then I play it, and next thing you know, they got their friends in there, and you're like, well, maybe it was just my taste, not necessarily that the music's not good. Right.
Well, and that's, I tell people that all the time. Just because I don't like it doesn't mean it's not good. It just means I don't like it.
Yeah. And the other thing is, for me, with my radio show, is if, maybe I don't like your music, but I can tell you right now, if you're because this happens sometimes too, a band member will come in and hang out, and I'm like, okay, if you're going to support me, I'm playing your music.
Right. Well, that's what's about. Support is very, very, very important.
Yeah. Well,
please make sure you post this on my page, and I will send it, and I'll share it, and see if we can't get a few people drop into this for you from our behalf as well.
Oh, definitely. And I strongly encourage anybody that will be listening to this to, go check out the Facebook page, come to the radio station, request to hear Conquest. If you're like, hey, I just listened to this interview with Conquest, and I have no idea what they sound like, ask to have it played. We will play it for you.
Yeah, definitely. Most definitely. And since you like it, you've checked it out yourself, there's more than one song to jam on. So, yeah, most definitely. Appreciate it.
Exactly. Okay, so here's a question for you. If I grabbed your iPod or MP3 player, however you like to listen to music, maybe record player still, what bands would I find you listening to?
Currently, you catch me listening to Hailstorm.
Awesome.
You catch me listening to Testament.
Mm-hmm.
What else? And believe it or not, John Oliva's Pain.
Okay, I don't think I've heard of that.
Yeah, this is the old singer of Sabotage.
Okay.
And a record after it's called John Oliva's Pain. I forgot the name of the current one, but really strong, very good melodies. Love it. So. Okay,
very cool. So, what sets Conquest apart? What are people going to get when they come to a live show? What do they, why should they download, check out your music? Why should they listen to Conquest?
Well, I mean, for me, I kind of view Conquest as a pure metal band. I think we've got all the elements of thrash, hard rock, heavy metal, all that kind of thing that kind of wraps around it. So if you like, Dio, if you like Metallica, if you like Megadeth, if you like Judas Priest, you're probably going to like Conquest. I mean, that's probably a fair assessment of the truth. So if you grew up, in the 80s, 90s, and you liked hard rock, heavy metal, we pretty much bring that. Now, what separates us from everybody else, I don't think nothing separates anybody anymore. I really don't. I think that, there's 10 bands that sound like AC/DC, there's 20 bands that sound like Metallica, and 50 bands that sound like Pantera, and everybody's borrowing and ripping off, and it's like originality is kind of a lost concept.
Uh-huh. Yeah, I can't disagree with that.
So yeah, maybe somebody paints their face a little differently, or somebody sticks their hair in a different color and makes it stick out differently, or what. You know where I'm going, right?
Yeah, totally.
It's all been covered and done. So I don't try to reinvent the wheel. What I do is what you mentioned earlier. I try to grab that soul of heavy metal and make sure it appears on my records. You know what I mean? So that somebody like you, who truly looks for that when you go by or listen to a song, who's earning, you're yearning for that to come out, that vibe that makes you go, this was a good heavy metal song. Man, that's what I do. That's what I go after. If I don't jam on it and I'm burnt on it, think about it. By the time that you listen to it, I pretty much could care less if I hear Live Free or Die ever again. You know what I mean?
Yep.
As far as me listening to it. But man, you know what? Today I haven't listened to the record in a little bit. If I popped that in right now, it would grab me all over again, and I know that. That's what I try to do. That's what I try to do when it comes to writing music. Because you know how it is. Go pop in Shout at the Devil. Go pop in Master of Puppets. Things that changed your life at that time in your life as you were that younger individual. Man, if you can reestablish that vibe currently, 2013 or 14, because you're not going to reinvent it. You know what I mean?
Yes.
So if you can reestablish it and make it feel fresh again, I think you win.
Yep. Very good. Yeah, it's funny you mentioned Shout at the Devil. That was my first rock. I mean, I guess it was kind of metal back then, but that was my first vinyl album of that nature, and I had gotten it from a friend, and I was playing Shout at the Devil, which is an awesome song, and my mom heard it, and she's like, that kind of sounds satanic to me. You need to get rid of that.
Right. Oh, same thing. I used to say, Mom, we're shouting at the devil, not with the devil.
Exactly. But yeah, so
yeah, I say both for me, man. It was a very pivotal record back then when it came out. I saw the video for Livewire on Night Flight. You remember that?
I do not.
That was a video program that was like on late night, and where I lived, you didn't get it because I didn't have cable. But my rich buddies out in the county did at that time, right? You know, so out at a party one night, and they had it on, and Night Flight was on, and I was like, wow, what's that? Who's that? You know what I mean?
Right.
And that was the first thing for me. I seen that, and I was like, okay. You know, and at the time, I'm again a Priest fan, a Black Sabbath fan, you know, Montrose fan in the rock world, a Triumph fan. You know what I mean? That kind of stuff.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Okay, so what's the craziest thing that's ever happened to you at a live show that you're willing to talk about?
That I'm willing to talk about. Yeah, really, that's about the size of that's it. I don't know. Definitely had, you know, nudity, all that wonderful stuff. You know, definitely that kind of stuff. Mosh pits that got out of control. Probably, we did Mayhem tour, a couple shows in the Midwest, and we had a couple times where, you know, you're looking out there and there's not one mosh pit, there's not two mosh pits, there's 4 and 5. You know what I mean? And people getting, you know, thrown down, you know, kind of hurt for you. I'm like, wow, should I stop or what? You know what I mean?
Right.
You know, so that kind of stuff, which I'd say the most over-the-top thing. We're not big druggies or nothing like that, so we were, you know, pretty consistent when we travel. So, yeah. The stage is where the energy always comes out for us, no doubt about it.
Okay, so let me rephrase that question to in a different light.
Sure.
So, you know, when I say crazy, what's the biggest, oh my God, that just happened, this is awesome kind of moment you've had?
I know one of them, I don't know about the most awesome, but one of them was very cool. I was having dinner at Applebee's, sitting there, and promoter calls me and says, hey, what are you doing? And I said, having some dinner. And he said, you sitting down? And I said, yeah. And he goes, well, how would you like to open the first 3 nights of the Slayer 2004 tour, and they're all sold out? And I was like, yeah.
Yeah.
Do that?
Yeah, exactly, right?
Yeah, right. And I got mixed feelings going through my head. I'm going, how awesome is that? And I'm going, oh, shit. I've seen bands get slayered off the stage before. You know what I mean?
Right.
You know, when the opening band, where you finish the song and everybody's chatting Slayer. You know what I mean?
Right.
So I'm going, you know, but that didn't happen, thank God. You know what I mean? But still, that was a very cool moment. Find out we were going to play at Horizon Wire Amphitheater out here in O'Fallon, Missouri, with, like I said, with Maiden, and when Halford was out doing a solo thing. That was cool when we opened that. So that was pretty massive. Pretty cool phone call when that came. Yeah, stuff like that. Probably the big events as far as touring, getting those opportunities. You know, the recording part of it, I've always been head in into it anyway, so I was doing that whether somebody else was doing it for me or not. You know what I mean?
Right. So like that sold out Slayer concert, how many people was it?
That was free, about 3,500, something like that.
Nice. Very cool.
I mean, I've played to 20,000 people before, so that's awesome. I don't know that there's a difference anymore. I mean, it's neat, you know that you did that, but you really don't see past a certain amount of people anyway, so
right.
It doesn't really matter. We played a couple of years back with Korn in Kansas City, and Korn was never one of my big favorite bands. It was actually, I view them as a band that kind of killed what I loved, you know what I mean? But when I played with them live, it was a different vibe altogether. That was pretty cool, too. There was about 9,000 people at that show. So, yeah, good stuff.
So how cool is it, and this is a question I always ask because I'm not a musician. I couldn't play an instrument to save my life. So when you're up on stage and, you know, and you're playing one of your songs and the crowd starts singing along or chanting along to the music you're doing, how amazing is that, the energy boost you get from that?
Well, that's the way I can describe it to you. I mean, you're a straight guy, right?
Yes.
Well, there you go. Picture
Gotcha.
your best time you have ever had in the bedroom. That's probably what that would be the closest to, because, again, and I say this very confidently in a way that's true hard about the music, the metal music, because, you know, when we do this thing called a tribute to the metal gods, and we'll play Priest and Maiden and all that stuff. We'll play that at the end of our show, or kind of what's that, when we bust a little bit of that out, that thing, you know?
Right.
It's more of a tribute, right? And obviously you play them songs, everybody knows that stuff automatically, and it's great when they're singing, you know, Metallica, you know, he's playing Creeping Death and they're singing the bridge back to you, you know, that's awesome. But when you're doing your tune,
right,
that you wrote, and you're playing, and they're doing that back to you, the hair stands up on your arm, and still to this day, no matter how many times it happens, I still get that feeling, and it's an overwhelming feeling of, wow, man, these people know the lyrics to something I wrote, sitting there goofing around on the guitar, working on music. These people know the lyrics.
Yeah, that's awesome. Very cool. Okay, so now I'm going to ask you the very most important question of the interview, so I hope you're ready.
Okay.
Who in the band spends the most time in front of a mirror before you guys go on stage?
That's funny shit. Because they'd say I do, but I don't spend any time in front of a mirror, so therefore it's irrelevant. As like I tell them when I'm just arguing with them, you know, God does crazy things, man. He made you look like that, they made me look like this. I can't help that.
Right. Awesome.
You know, I mean, I don't, you know, I don't. If you ever see a picture of me, man, I got long blonde hair. Okay, so I get that Brett Michaels, Vince Neil bullshit, you know, all the time. I came this way. I don't dye my hair. I don't do anything.
Right.
It's just, this is who I am. You know what I mean? So, you know, no eyeliner here. You know what I mean? It's just, and again, if they would put eyeliner on, more power to them. Awesome, cool, good for them.
Yeah, everybody has their thing that they like, so.
That's right. Right.
Whatever works.
I always thought the idea of heavy metal was to express yourself for who you are. You know what I mean? So,
yep.
So yeah. That's a cool question, though, man. Good question. But I would probably say Rob, the bass player, stands in front of the mirror more than anybody, and he wouldn't tell you that, but he'd tell you that I did.
Well, very cool. Well, you'll have to tell me his reaction when he hears the interview to that question.
That's right.
Yep.
That's right.
Okay.
Well, he will listen for sure, so that's cool.
Is there anything else? Is there anything about Conquest I haven't asked you that you want to make sure people know?
Well, I'm really. It really is cool for me that you touched on something that a lot of people on this particular record that we've done, and I don't think I've done good music in the past, but whatever it is on this particular record, we're touching that little bit of that soul part of heavy metal that you're referring to, and that's what I want everybody to know. If you don't give it a listen, you don't know what it is.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? And so many people go skim over 30 seconds through the songs and never really give it a listen. Now, you know, because you know this as well as I did, I listened to a couple records back in the day and went, it's okay. And that ended up being the record of the year for me after I listened to it more. So that's what I tell everybody. Don't be caught up in today's fast pace of not paying attention to what it is you might have in your hand, because you might have something you truly love and jam on. And that's all it is for me. It's good music. to jam on. So
Very cool. Yeah, I cannot tell you how many times I've bought an album and listened to like the first 3 or 4 tracks and been like, whatever. And then I find myself listening to that nonstop for like a year. Okay, last thing to ask before I let you go. I'd love a couple of radio liners if you don't mind.
yeah, no problem.
So the first one, you can say your name and, say you're from the band Conquest and you're listening to DJ REM.
DJ REM.
Yep.
Gotcha. Ready?
Yep.
Hi, this is Derek from the metal band Conquest. You're listening to DJ REM. Turn it up.
Okay, perfect. And then the second one, do the same thing, but just say that you're listening to, instead of DJ REM, say that you're listening to rockaddictradio.com.
Rock Addict?
Yep, like a drug addict.
Addict. Rockaddictradio.com. Okay. Hey, this is Derek from the metal band Conquest. You're listening to metal... what is it?
It's okay. Rock Addict Radio.
Rock Addict Radio, okay. Hey, this is Derek from the metal band Conquest. You're listening to Rock Addict Radio. Turn it up, make it loud.
Very good. And actually, it's funny. It's good that you said metal the first time and did it wrong because I didn't tell you. On Wednesdays, I actually simulcast my show on 2 stations, and the other station I broadcast on is called Metal Devastation Radio. So I should probably have you make a tag for them too.
Metal Devastation Radio. Gotcha.
Yep.
Okay, ready?
Yep.
What's up out there? This is Derek from the metal band Conquest. You're listening to Metal Devastation Radio. Turn it up loud.
Okay, very cool. Well, thanks again for taking the time out of your day, almost an hour, to talk to me. I totally appreciate it. This has been a really nice interview. Very cool, man.
My pleasure, man. Anytime, and I love what you do, and I appreciate all the support.
Yeah, please tell the rest of the guys in the band I said what's up, and within the next week I'll have this interview edited, and I'll have it up on YouTube, and then I will send it out to you guys.
Perfect, man. You got to send me over some playlists when you play us. I'd love it.
Yeah, can do that. Can do. All right, take care, man.
You too, bud.
Yep, bye.